All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the retirement podcast, the Confident Retirement Podcast, brought to you by LPF Advisors. We're here in our long sleeve shirts. It's still winter. I'm your host, Kris Flammang. Join me, as always, my co host and resident CFP, Collin Habig, who will help us break it all down. Today, we're diving into a topic that's critical for anyone with a pension plan. Not a lot of those around, but we do have a lot of clients that are in plans that have pensions. So we want to go through that. We're going to talk about your pension election options today. This topic is a game changer when selecting the right payout option for you and your family. So it's going to be packed with good info. But first, our disclaimer, the information that we provide is our opinion and not necessarily that of our firm or this platform. We provide general info only on the podcast and not any customized investment advice. Nothing ever should be construed as financial tax or otherwise. You should consult with your own professionals about your personal situation. There we go. So, Collin, today we're talking about pension plans. Let's start with just kind of a background, a high level. What is a traditional pension plan?
Absolutely. So a traditional pension, like you said, there's not a lot of them around anymore, but they're also considered defined benefit plans, which is usually a retirement plan where your employee guarantees you a specific amount of income in retirement. So, this amount typically is based off of factors like your salary, years of service, and a set formula that's set by the companies and actuaries. So won't get too much into that. But unlike regular 401ks, your employer takes on the investment risk and is responsible for funding the plan to ensure you receive that guaranteed income based on those different payout options.
Yep. So if you're in a company or a plan that has a pension, you won't specifically have like your own account that you invest in, like you would with your 401k. You have a benefit that's building. And then at the time when you retire, you'll get a calculation that'll give you all of your options, which we're going to go over today on what you could choose to get based on your years of service and how much money you made. Okay. So let's jump in. What are some of the most common pension payout options?
Yeah. So we typically see four, and there might be some different variations, but one that's always going to show up is that single life annuity. And what that does is it provides you with monthly payments for the rest of your life. But like anything, there's always downsides. Those payments stop once you pass away. So there's nothing left over for your spouse or your heirs.
And is
Now,
that's also probably the highest amount someone could get, correct,
yes,
on a monthly basis, because it's just insuring one life,
you're absolutely right.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, kind of going off of that, you do have the joint survivor annuity, which will be a little bit less of that single life annuity. And the reason for that is now you're insuring two lives, you and your spouse. But this option typically pays you and your spouse for as long as either of you are alive. And you can often choose a different percentage, such as 50%, 75%, or 100% that your spouse would continue to receive after your passing.
Okay.
Uh, Now, the third one is a lump sum option. So instead of receiving monthly payments, you take the entire value of your pension up front, and you can roll this over into an IRA and control how you're accessing those funds.
And it
Uh,
should be noted that not all pension plans have a lump sum option.
right.
But you need to check your summary plan description to see if those choices were available.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One that confuses people is this fourth option, which is the term certain. So this allows you to receive guaranteed pension payments for a specified period of time, typically anywhere between 10 to 20 years, regardless of whether or not you're still living. So what that means is if you pass away during that time, your beneficiary will continue to receive those payment options for the remainder of that period. But after that term ends, whether it be the 10 or 20 years, those payments will stop. So each of these options has pros and cons, and the right choice is always dependent on your situation.
Yeah. So let's do an example on that term certain. Let's say you pick your entire life with a 20-year period certain. So as long as I'm alive, it'll always pay, even if that's past 20 years. But if I died in year 10, then whoever I've named as the beneficiary will continue to get payments until that 20 years has been satisfied. Then in the end of that 20th year, then the payments stop, even if that surviving person is still alive. Okay. So then how would someone decide between a single life and a joint and survivor annuity, or even a term certain? How would you do that?
A lot of options to choose from. So there's always a few key factors when making this decision. So number one, we could look at your spouse's needs. So if you're married and your spouse relies on your income, a joint and survivor option might provide that peace of mind that that stream of income is always going to be there. Next we want to look at age and health. So if you're in great health and you expect a long retirement, a single life option might work better for you. However, if you're concerned about your spouse's longevity, a survivor benefit could be crucial when making that decision. And last but not least, just looking at other sources of income. So if you and your spouse have reliable income streams like Social Security, investments, life insurance, you might feel more comfortable opting for the higher payout of the single life option. But a financial advisor will be able to help you run these situations and help you decide which one's going to be the best for you.
Okay. And we should also say that depending on the state you live in, when we're saying spouse, that also could mean significant other, common law marriage partner, whatever that might be. But if you're a non-spouse, non-significant other beneficiary, there might be some limitations that you'll want to check into, and we can dig into the details on those too. Okay, so when sometimes that lump sum payment does make sense. What are some scenarios where that might be a good idea?
Yeah. So the lump sum option makes sense when you want more flexibility. So the way I tell it to clients is, do you want to be the one to control that faucet of income? Do you want to have the control over your money, or would you rather just receive a pension check? But a few scenarios where it might make sense. Number one, you're comfortable managing your investments. So if you're comfortable in your ability to invest or have a trusted advisor, rolling the lump sum into an IRA can allow you to grow that money and access it as you need it. Number two, legacy goals. So if leaving money to your heirs, not just your spouse, but your heirs is also important to you, a lump sum gives you that flexibility and that option where the annuities typically don't. And then the last one will be health concerns. So if you're not expecting a long retirement due to health reasons, a lump sum could ensure your family those benefits, because now you have that money in hand and it doesn't stop upon your death. So that being said, the lump sums, they come with risks like market volatility and the temptation to overspend, but you'll just need a disciplined approach to make it work.
Yeah, and with that lump sum, the risk is shifted to you. So if you do take that lump sum, now it's on your shoulders to make sure that money lasts. Where if you stick with the annuity payment, then the risk is on the company to do the investments and to ensure that you always get payments. I do want to also mention there is a tactic or a method by which you could take a lump sum and then use that lump sum money to make your own annuity. Essentially, what you're doing is you're shopping out to all of the annuity type companies outside of the traditional pension plan and maybe get some different options in terms of how you could take the money, still get a guaranteed income, but then have additional options for legacy purposes that may be desirable to you that the traditional plan would not offer. Okay. So, Collin, I'm sure there's some tax implications in all this. We can't avoid that. So what are the ones that we should be aware of when you're talking about pensions?
We always have to pay our taxes. So, pension payouts are typically considered taxable income. So a quick breakdown of it. So if we look at number one, annuity payments. So these are taxed as ordinary income in the year that you receive them, just like you were receiving a paycheck from your job. If you were to choose a single life option or a joint survivor annuity, your monthly payments will add taxable income or add to your taxable income each year. Now, if you decide to take the lump sum payment, if you take the lump sum and you don't roll it over into an IRA and you move it to your bank, that entire amount will be subject to income tax in the year that you receive it. So this could push you into a higher tax bracket. So making sure that you roll over those funds to a tax deferred account will avoid this immediate tax hit. So understanding the tax implications is crucial, and you don't want to blow up your tax situation in retirement. We want to make sure that we're staying on the same path.
Yeah, if you ever wanted to be in the highest tax bracket, that would be your
That's one way to do
chance. That would be your chance. All right. So any final tips for evaluating people's options, the options that they have with their plans?
Yeah, so I mean, like anything, you need to understand your needs. So look at your overall financial plan and including your other retirement savings, debt, lifestyle goals, and that'll help you decide which option might be best for you. So you also want to compare those numbers using projections, see how each option impacts your income over time. You want to look long term. So remembering that this decision affects not just your retirement, but potentially your spouse and your family as well. So you don't want to rush the process. You want to take your time when weighing these options. But last but not least, just seek advice. So this is one of those decisions where working with a professional can truthfully pay off over time, and a financial advisor can help weigh all the factors when choosing the option that aligns with you and your family's goals.
Yeah, that's well said. And I can think of so many scenarios where someone came in to meet with me. They had in their mind what the best option was. After we go through this exercise, it either confirmed it, or in some cases, we changed their mind, or they came to the conclusion that they should go another direction with their payout choice based on what their goals were and what their financial situation was. So there we have it. There's some key considerations for evaluating your pension options. It's a significant decision that can impact your retirement security, but with the right approach and the right help, you can feel confident in your choices. If you have any questions for us or about any financial topics, you can feel free to reach out to us, www.lpfadvisors.com, or you can email us at info@lpfadvisors.com. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and share this episode with anyone you think that might find it helpful. We appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Collin.
Chris, thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody, take care and be well.
You've been listening to the Confident Retirement Podcast with Kris and Mark from LPF Advisors. For more information on them and retiring confidently, please visit lpfadvisors.com. If your ears are pleased and your mind is now at ease, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.